From selling painter's tape on Amazon to mid 7 figures worth of sales and the ability to buy even other Amazon brands. That's just part of the story of today's guest. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. And continuing my tour of the e-commerce world, I'm here in one of my old stomping grounds that I barely recognize, Long Island City, which when I was here 30 years ago, it was like Queensbridge projects, and you had to be careful walking around. And I got off the Uber. I wasn't paying attention. I got off the Uber. I'm like, am I in like the west side of Manhattan or something? I'm like, what is going on here? But Shaff, am I pronouncing that right?
That's correct, yeah.
Invited me here to his home here in Long Island City. Now, you told me you are actually from born and raised here in New York?
Yeah, born and raised Queens, New York, Fresh Meadows, but moved to Long Island City. Love it here.
How long have you been here in Long Island City?
Long Island City, I would say it's been about 3 years.
Okay. Were your parents born in Pakistan or here in also here in the United States?
They were born in Pakistan, and my father actually came here when he was 16 in I think it was like the late 70s or early 80s or something like that.
From where in Pakistan?
Lahore.
Oh, Lahore.
Yeah.
Yep. I had some good biryani when I went to Lahore, but Karachi, I still think Karachi might have a little bit better the spice. I don't know what it is.
I don't know. I think Lahore's better.
Oh, okay. Right.
No, Lahore's definitely. We got it, man. No, you got to try other stuff.
Okay,
man.
yeah.
Not just the biryani.
I'll have to go back. Go back. Do you go back there often?
I go there every year. I was there actually 3 months ago. So our back office for our Amazon business is all in Lahore, in a town called Gulberg, which is like the city center. And so we're in like a workspace cabin, and the entire team basically sits there, and we run the business from over there.
Awesome. How many employees do you have over there?
We have 7 employees.
Okay. Born and raised here in New York. Where did you go to university?
So for undergrad, I went to University of Miami, did my bachelor's over there.
Hurricane,
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Yeah.
And then so I went to law school as well. So for law school, I went to Hofstra University right here on Long Island.
They have a good basketball team, Hofstra, sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
What's the mascot?
I'm horrible. I don't even know. Dude,
what school spirit he had.
I was running, you know what it is? I was trying to build a business at the time. And so I wasn't even on campus and paying attention to that. I was just so involved in the brand building and learning finance, supply chain, and marketing that just I don't even remember anything about law or anything.
All right.
Nature.
Well, he was being like we good Asians are and focus on school and not the sports aspect of things. And I remember how that went. And did you get into law upon graduation?
Okay, so as Asians, right, you don't have much options. So my parents pretty much were like, okay, you have a few options, right? You could be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. There's no way I was going to get into med school because you need, phenomenal grades, and law school was, the other option. I didn't really plan to even become a lawyer. The plan was, okay, I'll basically buy time. And while I buy time, I'll be able to maybe start a business or look at other ventures in the 3 years of law school.
So. So you did actually start practicing law?
No, I started law school in 2017. I started a business in 2018. And
the business is in your e-commerce business?
The e-commerce business, yeah.
What did your parents think of that? I'm assuming your parents were supporting you throughout college and paying thousands of dollars, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, let me go ahead and sell stuff on Amazon, or like that. How'd that conversation go?
Immigrant parents that have used a computer maybe once in their life to talk to their family back home, right? They just thought it was a crazy idea. They thought anyone can do this, and it's not of something value. And they didn't realize the scale that you could get it to. And so, when you come over here from third world countries like Pakistan, you want security, you want steady paychecks. And so they just didn't believe in the dream of, especially being e-commerce and, not being brick and mortar where, traditionally you see that way more. And so, yeah, they were opposed to it. But, upon graduation, kind of like shared a bunch of information with them about how we were doing as a business. And they were like, okay, like maybe this is sustainable. Maybe we'll let him pursue this business.
Okay. How did selling online get on your radar? Just because you were born here does not mean it's still not exactly a normal thing. Like, oh, let me sell products online. So how did you find out about this opportunity?
So in undergrad, I had a friend, and he pretty much was a manager at this one guy's business. And this guy who owned the business, he had 47 shoe stores all over America, right? And so his business was like seriously declining. This is back in 2016. And so his business was declining. And so the manager, my friend, he would tell me that, oh, like we just started selling on Amazon and we're crushing it. And they basically were using the FBM model, right? Where they're pretty much shipping the product from all 47 stores. So if you got an order in Chicago, the Milwaukee store would fulfill that order, right? And so like the first year, they did like $2 million in sales. The owner of the company was like buying warehouses and turning them into like charter schools. And he was just, in those 2 years, he was like just crushing it. And I was like, is it that easy? Like my friend, he wasn't that tech savvy. And the owner of the business, like he was just a brown Pakistani uncle that, wasn't like a traditional computer user, software guy. And so I was like, okay, like I think there's an arbitrage here. And I think there's an opportunity. I haven't heard of this opportunity elsewhere. And so let me just sort of like learn more about it, get more knowledge about it.
So what year was your first product, your first private label product on Amazon that you were selling?
So 2019, July 19th, actually. I remember exactly because it was my sister's wedding that day was when I launched my first product. But
what was it?
Painter's tapes.
So like when you're painting a wall and you put tape so you don't get paint on the floor and on the corner or something like that?
Yeah, exactly. So like it was.
How did you find that?
I mean, we were like, I was using tools. I was using Helium 10 was a great tool. So we were using I was using tools like that and pretty much finding gaps, learning how to use these tools, right? Cause I didn't even know how to use softwares. So Helium 10 actually was like the easiest one to use. And so found this opportunity,
How did it do?
Honestly, it did pretty good for like 2 years until the overseas competition just came and sort of like wiped us out. But it did well, actually. I made a bunch of money from that.
Did you know that in seconds you can find all the keywords any product on Amazon was ranking for in the last couple of years? Or find out where any product got sales from brand analytics data from the last 5 years? Or get exclusive private trainings that used to cost $400 a month? All of these, plus more, is available now on the Helium 10 Diamond Plan. Upgrade with this special 20% off coupon code SSP20. No contract, you can cancel at any time. Once again, use code SSP20 to get the Helium 10 Diamond Plan that helps brands so much, it practically pays for itself. All right, fast forward. You have multiple brands, I believe. What's your main brand called?
Yeah, so the main brand that we have right now is called Insight.
Insight, like I have insight into something? Or?
Yeah, ENSIGHT.
Okay.
It's a planners and journal brand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And when did you start that brand?
So before I dove into Amazon, I was kind of like I was very like risk averse. I was like, hey, like I don't want to start one brand. I want to start two brands, right? So one of them was the Painter's Tape brand called Plex. And the second brand was Insight. And so the idea was like, okay, I'm going to launch these two brands. And the second brand, Insight, I wanted to be custom because I know that competition was arising. And so the Insight Planner product I launched in September. So a couple months after the first launch that I did in July, I launched then.
Okay. Yeah. Between all of your brands that you now sell, including Insight and others, which year was your best year of sales? Was it last year? Have you been increasing, year over year, or was it, before?
Yeah, we're pretty much increasing year over year, which is why, we're still continuing to be on the platform and take more opportunity from it until we sort of see that there's, not the growth. But yeah, like, mid 7 figures is probably like our best year so far.
Okay. And of that mid 7 figures, how would you break down marketplaces as far as like Amazon USA, another Amazon, if you're, how much percent on Shopify, if you have Shopify, are you doing TikTok Shop, et cetera? How would you break that revenue down?
Yeah. So we're 90% Amazon. And then I would say like we're 5% Shopify and we're 5% Walmart. And right now we're engaging with TikTok.
The 90% Amazon, is it all Amazon USA or any other countries?
It's all Amazon USA.
Is there anything stopping you from expanding some of your brands to other like Canada, Mexico, Europe?
So yeah, so the reason why I didn't expand into different marketplaces was because the growth in the US was still so great that I was like, okay, like before I expand into other countries and sort of, create more work in the supply chain side, I want to maximize the current opportunity in this market. And so until we stop seeing double-digit growth, I don't want to involve myself in another market just yet because I think focus is like super key on Amazon.
Okay, cool. What is your goal for this, like long term, if any? Like, are you building it up to eventually exit? Is this a legacy thing you can pass on to your kids? I mean, like, what have you thought? 5 years in the future?
Yeah, that's a good question. So recently we did an acquisition. I purchased a 50% interest in another brand, which is, I would say, like 3 to 4x the size of the current brand that I have. And so it's in the same category. And essentially like the goal is to turn it into, or have at least like a portfolio of household brands, right? The brand that I purchased, it's in the educational poster category. It's one of the top on Amazon. I think we have the most reviews in the category for that brand. And, the goal with that brand is like maximize the US market and try to get into, retail brick and mortar. Cause, we figured out the, e-commerce side of things, but I think to diversify risk and to sort of mitigate loss from overseas competition and rising Amazon ad fees and things like that, we need more security. And so the acquisition I did is so we can have more security and be in stores and sort of have these other places where we are, not exclusively, but having a serious sales volume.
Okay. Now, one question I asked about Helium 10 for some people is those who weren't using Helium 10, they started, but you were kind of using it almost from day one, even looking for your first products on there. So I guess I would phrase this way then, like, I'm sure you've started using tools at different times. Like you weren't using every single tool from day one when you were doing your painter's tape. So what have been some of the big impacts over time as you started adopting more use of Helium 10 tools? You have any anecdotes like that?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. There's a lot of that. So brand analytics, right? Like when you go into brand analytics, when you are in the source query performance, it's very difficult to look at the data and then, sort of like export sheets and then compare sort of like timelines week over week, month over month. And so one big advantage of using Helium 10 on the Diamond was that we have the search query analyzer. And one amazing thing that I like about that specific tool is that there's a funnel, right? And so when you open up the funnel for your specific product, I'm able to tell market size, impressions, conversions, add to carts, and clicks, right? And so why is that important, right? So we are trying to grow double digit year over year, right? So we need to know how large is the market size, right? So if we are able to see that, okay, like for this specific product, the market has 1 million clicks and we're getting only 10,000 clicks. Now I know that the ceiling is 1 million clicks, right? And so I'm able to grow into that, right? And so the funnel helps a lot with that, which you can also see on Amazon. But the issue is that like you can, like it's not as easily digestible. I know I wouldn't use it because it's just so hard to read.
Download all those reports.
Exactly. Exactly. So just by looking at that at the product level, we're able to set KPIs for our employees and just sort of say like, hey, like, if we want to increase 10%, year over year, then hey, like I know that it's possible because this is how large the market is, right? And so, it's just like easier to illustrate sort of like the goals.
Talk to me about your launch process. First of all, around how many products are you launching per month?
We launch, I would say, about 6 products a month.
talk about the Helium 10 aspect of what role Helium 10 plays in your launches, and the non-Helium 10 aspect, like how you were around in 2019 towards the end of the search, find, buys.
I got in
two-step URLs and stuff.
I got in maybe like 6 months before everything just went haywire. Like I came in 2019. I think 2020 is when things just went gangbusters pretty much.
So all of us had to change our launch strategy. So what is walk me through your launch process for a new product?
Yeah, so I think every brand is different. And the reason is because obviously different categories react in different ways, right? And so our category, we have a lot of loyal customers, and because we have so many SKUs, it's not that hard launching products because we're able to run targeted ads on our own PDPs for the new launches. And then we're able to launch. So for example, right, we have one listing that has 9,700 reviews, right? So what we do is that if I'm launching a new product, I'm going to run an ad of our new launched product on that existing 9,700 review product because it's bringing in so much traffic, right? What'll end up happening is that someone may convert on that specific product. And so where Helium 10 would come into this is figuring out okay, not only at the PDP level, what keywords and what search volume do they have? And then it's very strategic. My team has very they have very precise metrics as to what we need to follow, what metrics are being pulled, what search volume every keyword needs to have before we go and tackle it, what should be an average CPC, what CTR are we sort of trying to derive from that launch. And then the search query analyzer, it provides that data as well. I was looking at it earlier today. I forgot what I was looking at. It'll come to me. I'll talk about it later.
All right, cool. So how do you, other than doing product targeting on your existing products that have so much traffic already, what else are you doing? Are you launching with a lower price or a coupon, or sending any off Amazon traffic, a mailing list that you're letting customers know, or talk a little bit more about that?
Okay. I'll give you my launch strategy, right? So the way that we launch is we create the listing, right? I'll tell you from the way back. We create the listing and I set the launch date to maybe 6 months in the future. And the reason why I do that is because as soon as the inventory hits the warehouse, your listing becomes active. But if the launch date is set in the future, it turns into a 404 error. And so the honeymoon phase doesn't start, right? The honeymoon phase actually does exist. It's not that long, but it does exist. So that's number one, right? So as soon as it gets launched, we actually launch a lot of auto campaigns. And the reason why we launch a lot of auto campaigns and not exact match campaigns, I would say it's a split. It's 70 to 80% auto campaigns. It's going to be maybe 20 to 30% exact match campaigns. And the reason is because the algorithm is always changing. Rufus is always identifying in a semantic way on how to describe the product. What is a product? And so we're trying to learn how Amazon's going to index that product, right? And so we figure that out. We aggregate those keywords, and then what
kind of budget on those campaigns? Daily budget?
Honestly, we don't really set budgets. We just try to get ranked. It's not going to be thousands of dollars a day, but it's just enough where we need to get ranked because my philosophy is that we don't want to rent keywords. We want to get ranked for them. So we're going to spend money and we're going to be pretty aggressive with spending money. In conjunction with that, we drive Google traffic to our PDPs. We have listicles, editorials on Google that we run. We have a meta funnel that we run for our new launches. And we also have an email list on Shopify where as soon as we launch a new product, we have a bunch of emails where we'll sort of blast and be hey, you can purchase this. And then the email links, actually, they won't go to Shopify. They'll go to Amazon. So we get, the ranking boost.
How do you decide what to target on Google for your new launches?
So we take the keyword. That's a good question. So we take the keywords that we got from Amazon and we basically use them on Google. And I would say Google and Amazon's keywords are 90 to 95% synonymous in search in terms of search volume. And so it's way more than likely that the keywords that are successful on Amazon are also going to be successful on Google.
What are some other kind of like Helium 10 cadences for your team? I know it's your employees who are mainly in it, probably even more than you now. What do you require them to do? Like either, do you have some things that they need to be looking in Helium 10 on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly audits? What's your SOP?
Yeah. So like I was saying before, like our North Star is keyword ranking. Like I said, we do not rent keywords. We buy them. We own them and we pay tax to be on them. Right. And so like one of the most important metrics for like the Amazon team is like retention. Like, are you guys retaining the positions that we need? And so we're in the keyword tracker. Like I'm in the keyword tracker, or they're in the keyword tracker. We use that tool like just every day, every hour. Like it's the main thing that I look at. Because otherwise it's like, our catalog is so large that like you're going to be going into Amazon and typing in keywords and checking positions manually, where it's just like you can open up the keyword tracker and check that way. But I don't actually do that. I have, the automatic emails. So I just get the emails. The email basically tells us that, hey, like, we're ranking for this, ranking for that. And then, the profit revenue email, which is also pretty cool. So wake up in the morning, check that, see how we did yesterday. Are we flat? Are we up? Like, did someone need to get yelled at? Like, what's going on?
Going back to that keyword tracker, let's say your rank is down. What actions do you guys take?
Yeah. So if rank is down, figure out obviously why. And it could be many reasons, right? Like someone else is increasing bids, getting that placement. And so what we do is that we just go into the actual Helium 10 ad portal, which is actually really helpful as well. And I'll explain why after this. Yeah. So increase bids. Is there new competition that's playing with price? So for our new brand that we acquire, and even my planner and journal brand, they're custom products, right? And so like if a customer, like you're not buying a garlic press, right? Like it's at the end of the day, it's just gonna do whatever it does to the garlic. You're buying a planner or journal, you're buying educational posters. And so it's design. And so if your brand is the only brand that offers that design, customers are gonna find you regardless of the price. Obviously, the price can't be astronomically high, but they'll find you because of that price. And so most of the time it's that someone has increased bids. And then what do? We just add bid modifiers, increase those, and try to retain the positions again.
You said you use the Helium 10 ads portal. What do you use that for?
Yeah, so that's okay. So some products like the sponsored product ads will do well, or otherwise like the sponsored brand ads will do well. And so the sponsored brand video ads might do well, like the sponsored brand product carousel might do well. And so what I like about using that, and I'm pretty sure that Helium 10 ads is the only one that does it. You just get a breakdown of like which type of ad is being the most efficient in your catalog, and like whether it's sponsored product, sponsored video, or whatever. But like Amazon doesn't give you that data unless you literally manually look up all your video campaigns. You manually look up all your product carousel campaigns. For example, right? Like today, I look at ads a lot, and the reason why is it's because like it's the largest amount, like in your P&L, it's like the fattest amount that's going back to Amazon. So it's like if these guys are gonna spend money, like I want to know where it's being spent, right? And so like today, I'm in there looking at the catalog, and I noticed that like for one of the products, the sponsor display was like 13% ACoS, which is very good. And I was like, wait, this is like an anomaly. Like, let's put more money behind this and maybe we can scale it up. And even if the ACoS goes up a couple points, like whatever, at least we'll be able to scale it. But I'm able to see that information right off the bat very quickly, because obviously like I'm trying to expand the business and not be too much in it. And so I always like want my team to be more involved in using the tools that they have and not be in the account as much. Like I want them to be more in the tools because the tools provide more visibility.
Okay. What's the biggest L you've taken in your business? The biggest disaster, biggest catastrophe, biggest loss?
Yeah, this one time I took out like a massive loan, and we were going to launch, I think it was like 100 products, and I think only 15 of them like ended up doing pretty well, which I told other people about this. Like that's actually not that bad of a number, but invested a bunch of money, but it's because our process wasn't set up the way that it should have been. And so that was like probably the fattest cell. But you know what? Like you come back from it, you know, you understand why, what happened. And, you know, you learn more about like finance, like how money should be taken care of. And then on top of that, you know, the algorithm is always changing. And so you rather learn on how the algorithm is going to change rather than just blaming XYZ. I've seen a lot of sellers that, you know, launched brands in 2013, 2014. And at that time it was like really easy. You could just launch anything. And now it's like, I see a lot of those sellers, they're like either closing their stores down or they're just having a hard time because they weren't able to keep up. I got in a time where it was like, I only had 6 months to kind of just like relax. And then after that, I was like, no, you're not going to be able to relax. Like things have changed.
What's on the flip side? What's the biggest win you've had, or like the biggest surprise, whether it was on purpose or on accident, or like an amazing Prime Day or some crazy, amazing event that?
Yeah. So this is by total accident. When I was launching my planner, one of the planners, right? It was an appointment book. I wanted the interior to be like this, like navy color, right? And so I spent like, you know, months perfecting it, got a designer, ended up getting everything done, gave them all the Pantone colors to the manufacturers, whatever. And we ordered thousands of units. This is like my first product launch ever, right? Like all the money that I had as like a second year, like law student, like no job, nothing, right? Like, so the product comes in, right? Like whatever, like a bunch of pallets come in, and I told my supplier, I was like, hey, like just send me one unit. I just want to see it before it goes to Amazon. And the supplier sends it to me, and like the interior is not those colors at all. It's like a light, like a total like baby blue, light color, not navy. Like I was like, dude, no, like what just happened? Like this is horrible, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And then it's just amazing how like, just like life works. Like as soon as I launched it, it turned out that on the first page, the color, like because it wasn't dark, it was light. I got way more clicks than my competitors. My conversion rate was way higher and people loved it. And their mistake actually was like one of the most beautiful things that happened in the business. Otherwise, I wouldn't have survived.
We had one of that even before we were selling on Amazon, where we were doing like 500 phone cases on eBay a day. And we ordered a batch. It was supposed to be the transparent TPU plastic, you know, cases, but they glitter infused it. You know, the transparent ones is like unisex, like men like it, women like it. It's great for everybody. They just want a simple thing. We're like, who the heck is going to get glitter infused, you know, transfer? Like, who approved this? But we're like, it's here. Let's just throw it up. And it became like one of our top sellers. So you never know sometimes. Now you, like many other brands, unfortunately, out there who are big and successful, sometimes like to be cheap. And there's our Asian side. That's just definitely what I learned from my mom.
So true.
And you actually were on the platinum plan for Helium 10 for a while, even as a 7-figure seller, and then got on the diamond. What was the biggest surprise for you when you finally got on diamond? Or like, you already mentioned, you know, search query analyzer, and you mentioned ads and stuff, but anything else where you're like, oh my goodness, I wish I would have not been so cheap and got this diamond plan earlier?
Yeah. So time, like when your team is like wasting time, like that's wasted payroll, right? And so like, you know, like the finance manager, right? Like he's pretty much like, you know, checking subscriptions from like 10 other softwares. And it's like, why do we have 10 different softwares when we can just use this one suite, and then just that subscription is going to go out and we don't have to worry about anything else? Like, you know, no logging in, no sub accesses, one access, one account with everything. And that's it, guys. Like, I don't want anything else. And it just makes life so much easier, you know, because sometimes it's like, you know, I started some, you know, subscriptions like 2019, 2020. I'm using this email, that email. I'm hiring this person, firing this person. I have to give him access over here, you know, relieve access over there. And it's just like, that by itself is such a headache. And so now it's like, because everything is in one place, in one suite, like including ads, because we were using other softwares for that. It's just like, it's just so much easier. So we're like, I think I mentioned before, we're also trying to expand our TikTok shop business. And so before, again, I was going to buy this like $150 subscription of a software company to do influencer outreach. Guess what my diamond plan has? I have influencer outreach. So I save money over there and I don't need to sign up for another friggin' subscription and, you know, use that.
There you go. To reach your level of success, it's obviously you're not just doing bread and butter that everybody else is doing. What's some of the secret sauce or the stuff that you're doing differently, you and your team, that you think plays a role in some of the success you've achieved?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, I think talking to like bigger sellers helps a lot. And so there's this one really large seller, from Utopia Brands,
From Pakistan.
from Pakistan. Yeah,
I've had them on the podcast before.
Oh, you have? Yeah. So he's
Oh, he lives
so
in New
smart.
York.
He lives. Yeah,
C.
Jabran.
Yeah. And the other guy. Oh, I have such a bad memory here, but I was actually hitting him up to see if he it was last second, but he couldn't make it on the podcast. I would have liked to have seen him. But yeah, if you guys haven't heard their podcast, go back and look it up. They're multi 9-figure brand. Maybe eventually going to become the first 10-figure brand on.
I think
Amazon.
so. I think he's gonna do like 800 million this year on Amazon. Does his own manufacturing. He's actually the largest exporter in Pakistan in terms of containers. So he sends out the most containers in Pakistan. But like maybe his advice wasn't directed only to me, but his advice was like, follow the 80-20 rule, right? Like 80% of revenue is going to come from 20% of your catalog, right? And so I was always like, hey, like, no, every product is going to take off at one point, this and that, blah, blah, blah. But he was like, no, like, focus on the top products because those products are the ones that could get even more of a lift, right? And so here's what we did. So essentially, let me put it in lay terms, right? So say you own a brick and mortar retail store, right? And it does $1 million a year in revenue, okay? You have 5 employees just for that institution, right? I started looking at our product display pages like that, right? Like if 1 or 2 listings are doing $1 million a year, then that listing should get its own brand manager. That listing should get its own PPC person. That listing should get its own designer, right? Those 3 people are not going to focus on anything else. That's the only thing that they're going to care about. And so I think allowing them to focus on just like that listing or those like 2-3 listings, that has like expanded, our revenue pool to way more.
Yeah. Focus is always, stuff comes out when you're focused that never would have come out if your attention is just, in a million places. What about in advertising specifically? Anything that you guys do you think is different than others? You already mentioned one thing, which is like relying heavily on auto campaigns at launch. I don't think many sellers do that. What else are you doing on the advertising side? Maybe it's a metric that you're looking at, or maybe it's how you run sponsored display, or are you using AMC or anything advanced like that?
Yeah. So video ads. I think we're big on video ads. One metric that I really care about in terms of ads is going to be like the CTR. And the reason why I care about CTR so much is because Amazon cares so much about the CTR. You win the click, you get the conversion, right? Like Amazon it's like, I feel like people just try to complicate it so much. Like all you need to do is just get the click. When someone's on search, how are they going to get the click? And so when you're running, sponsored brand ads, like product carousel ads and, video ads, is just like come up with a really good hook or a video and, just try to win the click that way. And so I measure the success of our ads mainly by, CTR.
Interesting. I like it. All right. So again, mention what your brand is, if anybody, and who are the products for, and maybe some of our listeners can go out and support you.
Yeah. So we just did an acquisition of a brand. I joined one of my good friends on that brand, and it's an educational poster brand. You can go on Walmart.com and you can type in educational posters. We're bestsellers. We're number 1. You'll find us like that. I won't tell you the name. I want you to find us like that.
Kind of a mini search find buy there. I like it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the second brand, it's Insight. It's planner brand. We sell appointment books, planners for like, doctor's offices, law offices, a lot of like secretaries, I guess, like buy that specific product. Those are our 2 main brands right now. One thing that we're focusing on, actually, this is just like a sideway over here. But we're trying to actually manufacture in the US. My partner was actually manufacturing before, but like that's one of the things that we want to get into is manufacturing, because I think if you can unlock supply chain and never go out of stock, and just make sure that you have inventory all across the country. You'll always get the buy box. And as much as you don't think, but customers actually really care about shipping speed. And so if someone is seeing like 1 day shipping speed over 2 day shipping speed, more than likely they'll probably click 1 day shipping speed.
Cool. All right, Shaff, thank you again so much for inviting me to your home here in Long Island City. And maybe next year, maybe I'll do this same ASGTG show that I'm out, or conference that I'm doing tomorrow. And maybe we can have a follow-up episode and see, maybe you've bought a couple other brands, or now you've hit that 8-figure mark. We'll see, huh?
Maybe, yeah, let's see.
I like it. All right, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Thanks so much.